So my overall experience, if I have to say it in like one word, would be that I felt really, really comfortable. For somebody like me, I feel like that's really important because only if I feel comfortable do I actually tell the people what I'm actually thinking. So especially when you're choosing what you want to do with the rest of your life, I feel that's really important. And honestly, I didn't talk to anybody else that much, but Sujaya ma'am was the person that I always spoke to. She made me feel so comfortable, and I could all it was like a therapy session for me to meet with her every other week, and she slowly helped guide me and really made me understand that biomedical engineering is probably still something that I actually wanted to do. So that is what I would say. And yeah, everything else you guys really helped me with every step in choosing the colleges, filling out the applications, to always being available whenever I had any doubts. That was also important because I'm filling them out sometime at weird timings, and I always text you guys immediately came up with answers. I didn't have to wait. Was also something else that I felt. I really feel thankful for having some help like that. Yeah, I started shift from being online to going offline from school to college. I didn't really adapt to that immediately very well. I was really able to understand the subjects more is when I really realized, okay, this is probably something that I would really like to do. And as the years progressed, obviously even when talking to you people, when I started getting good grades, that also gave me the confidence to realize that I am capable of doing something like this as well. So one of the reasons I picked hospital management because it was like an easier way out, probably do your masters, to see the fact that I can do something that I am capable. Yeah, well, there was a lot of hard work and effort that I put into it as well, but I guess even the results from the hard work was really, it made me feel really good. It made me feel more confident. So it gave me the confidence to choose a harder master's degree program. Mom was always very encourageable, so I think that helped. I feel like even though you do put a lot of hard work, sometimes it's nice if somebody acknowledges it. I am generally a person, no matter what you throw me into, I'd somehow find the way to do it properly. But having that little bit of encouragement and somebody to actually appreciate the work that you're doing, that really made a difference, because that was not some sort of appreciation that I got from college or from anywhere else. Like all that from Sujaya ma'am helped me even more, because even though you choose your undergraduate program, not many people are very sure as to what they want to do. Even now, I'm still having doubts as to what subspecialty that I want to do in biomedical engineering. It's still very confusing for me. To have somebody who has a little bit of experience, whose advice you are willing to respect, is very important. I saw a bunch of my friends who applied to masters also go through it because they didn't have anybody to help them out. This is a better university, this gives you a better program. So to have somebody like that, somebody who's already done their research on all this, really helps. So when you're in college, you don't actually think of anything else to do except your college work. So to have somebody externally push you to do things that are out of your comfort zone, which you may not at that point in time realize it is something that you have to do, really helps you later on. It's just as simple as that, because when you're in college, especially in India, you have this very weird and very stringent rhythm where you have to stick to your coursework, you have to stick to your work, and you keep going on in that cycle that you forget there are so many other things that actually expose you to what real life problems are. So to have somebody, to do things like that on your own while you're trying to concentrate on your grades, it's a little hard. To have somebody tell you, look, these are the opportunities that are there, go look into it. So when somebody tells you that, it's much more easier to do something else. It's much more, they make you realize that there's more to just your books. So something like that is really important, and at the end of the day, like you said, to add all that to my resume, I think is definitely one of the reasons that I got into some of the top schools. I don't think I would have gotten into Berkeley just by saying I got an A+ in image processing. They would have been we have 20 applicants with an A+ or even a higher grade in image processing. That's not going to help me anywhere. Say, no, I work with somebody who actually does prosthetic. Yeah, I've done that. It's not just in my book, so I understand how it is implemented in real life. is what I feel people who are reading my application look for. Not just like the theoretical knowledge that anybody can gain, but like the practical knowledge as well. To, understand what you are actually going to do with the things that you've studied. So that's really important, I feel, while you're writing your resume. Okay, so actually the prosthetic project and the Web 3.0, I had two extremely different experiences. The prosthetic project, I already had an idea about what they were doing even before I went to the project because of my basics in biomechanics and everything. So it was easier for me to understand what they were saying and make more sense out of it than be like confused or like I think everybody else in the team was a bit younger than me, so they had like a lot of doubts, but I didn't have any of those doubts. I mean, not saying I know everything, but in that sense. And Chris sir was also very very supportive, and he was very encourative. He gave us a lot of materials to read. When I read other textbooks is what I also realized, this is not just your textbook that you follow. There are so many things, so many different ways to interpret the same information. That was very useful for me. It's actually one of the reasons that I wanted to pursue my master's in biomedical engineering, is realize, okay, I actually like biomechanics. I would like to do something like that. And also as an athlete, there was a lot of correlation for me, because it's again prosthetics, and you see so many people who are injured, from like minor injuries to losing their arms and limbs, and to still be able to offer such people the ability to compete in competitions again is something that was one of the reasons why I wanted to pursue my master's. As in Web 3.0 actually made me realize that I do not enjoy the coding or the virtual aspect, or like really that kind of, projects, which is also, I feel, very important. It's more important to know what you don't like than what you actually like. It's something that I realized, because it helps you eliminate options. I mean, it's not a bad experience, it's just an experience that gave me more information about what I liked. So it helped me more, I decided I don't want to do data science. So that is the experience that I had from Web 3.0. And everybody there were also very supportive. I had a really tough time during that class, and so many people really understood that, took out time, which they really didn't have to help me finish that course, and push me and give me that extra push and say, what, even if you don't like it, finish it. It's worth it, finish it. And to have that basic knowledge as to what Web3 means has given me a lot of conversation topics to talk about to so many other people as well. But not to everything, but to be able to understand what the other person is saying is also good. Like, that famous saying goes, the jack of all trades is a master of none, but it's always better than a master of one. So I really, I feel like it brings, it teaches you everything. You need to learn a little bit of everything, things you like and the things you don't like. So I'm very glad to have people who really help me and push me to do the things that I didn't like also, which is also just as important as people pushing you to do the things you like as well. Simply, I didn't have to worry about that aspect at all, because I knew somebody was on it. That itself gave me like mental peace to work on the things that I had to work on at that moment. Instead of having like a running thought, I still have to finish this, I still have to get that done, I still have to get my LORs ready. I know somebody is working on it, and I can trust that person to work on it. That really eased a lot of my mental confusions and all that. So that support system was great. That's really all I have to say. I like to be organized in general. To have somebody else also be just as organized like that, just all my troubles went away when I was thinking of that. So when I was actually done with all of my college work, and when I was getting ready to start applying, everything was ready. Everything was there for me. All I had to do was like just get a couple of signatures, work a little bit on my SOP and all that, and just fill out forms to which links had already been kept ready. Except for the things that I had to do, everything else was like totally, it was just handed to me on a silver platter. So that was really helpful with all the things that I had going on, with my grandmother being sick, my extra project and my extra subjects, and so much confusion in college and all that. It really helped. So while using a long-term mentoring program, it's really helpful because you can understand what you have to expect in a year, because that 1 year, it takes a lot of time for you to understand the actual work that goes into filling your applications. But during a 2 year like during this long term period, I understood what I had to do, and I was able to get most of my things ready before I actually had to do them. Like my LORs, my course, I started my GRE prep earlier, so I had time to write a second GRE even if the first one had gone wrong, and even if I had wanted to. And I had the college lists ready, so I had more time to choose in, and I had the deadlines ready as well. So I knew when what was opening, even before I knew when it was closing, I knew when it was going to open. Many people didn't know that. They didn't realize there's actually so much work that goes into doing your masters. You can't just say one day wake up and decide, you know what, I'm going to apply for my masters from today and just start doing it, because you don't know where to start. So finding that starting point takes time. So when you do this long-term program, you already understand what is required to reach the starting point, which makes the job a lot easier. After which, everything is more smooth. You're not worried, you're not panicked, you are much ahead of the deadlines. I almost submitted most of my applications, if I'm not wrong, before New Year started. And I even got my acceptance before Christmas. So, I was much calm, when all my other friends were still scrambling to finish their SOPs and they're all willing to apply, I already had an acceptance, and I was thinking, so when you get an early acceptance, that's another advantage. So when you have your SOPs ready and when you have an early acceptance, it gives you the freedom to apply to more challenging colleges. So that's what happened to Berkeley and Duke. I think I was planning to apply to Berkeley, but I was not planning to apply to Duke or Brown, because I think I already had the 9 colleges list. But since I'd already got an acceptance from Northeastern, I was more confident to apply to more challenging colleges because I already had a backup. Whereas people, they all apply, most of my friends, they apply to enough colleges to get them somewhere rather than, trying to aim for much higher. So that's one of the biggest benefits of starting much early. You finish early and you wait, and you can make a more calculated decision. When I first came to you guys, I did not want to touch biomedical engineering. I want to see any of those books for the rest of my life until I finished college. That's because basically I thought I was worthless. To be honest, that's where I was. I was at I had given up and I just wanted to be over with my degree and just get my BE degree and move on. But when you made me answer so many questions about myself, is when I started to realize, okay, I'm not worthless. I have something. There are some values in me. Okay, I'm interested in this. Is when I actually started getting back into classical music. Was at that time, I think one of those questions was what were your hobbies, and I realized, what were my hobbies? Okay, I used to say, okay, it's been a while since I sang. Then I got back into the groove of singing, so I started classical music coaching again, and I was doing it almost full time, and I started having a lot of fun. I realized I could have fun as well, and be relaxed and be organized. For me to understand that about myself took a long time, and I think that's totally because you made me reflect on the things that I like. Not many people take this time to self-reflect and say, what, I'm good at this, I'm bad at this. But now I do it as a constant practice. So even when I don't understand stuff or when I'm overwhelmed or something like that, I go back to those questions that you initially gave me and say, no, it's just you're not good at this, but you're good at so many other things. It's okay. You can either learn and develop your skill in this, or you can just let it go. It's totally fine. And but work on something else. So I feel that's really important to understand that you are of some value. I still remember when I opened the Berkeley, I was like, I'm going to get rejected. Why am I even opening this? I was like, congratulations. My dad didn't believe me for 2 minutes when I said I got it. So it's again a confidence boost that you can get. And again, thanks to all of you for giving me that confidence to start in the first place. Everywhere you use AI, we all really need to understand the importance of AI in every field nowadays. It's not just in medicine, it's not just in engineering, it's there. Anything and everything you do, you have AI in it. So it's very important to understand the basics of how it works. I'm glad they're teaching that to everybody else also, because we all think AI is just this high-tech fashion thing that's come up recently, but it's being used everywhere now. It's just becoming more complex. You have more complex and more sophisticated algorithms, but you're using it everywhere. Even supermarkets use it to analyze the trend. Flight companies use it to analyze the marketing trends for their tickets and everything and everywhere. So it's very important to be introduced to that subject at a very early age, because it's becoming very competitive in the computer science field, to be good. Learning AI would be a big advantage for a lot of students to do their undergraduate in computer science as well as their masters in computer science as well. Not just in computer science, even in, I think, mechanical and production engineering departments have AI. I think every student should be introduced to AI because it's really important in the recent times. And like I said, we use it everywhere, so it's good to know about it. Even if you're not interested in it, it's good to know about it.